Hello, everybody. I'm here back on the Saving Humanity podcast, and I have three women who I think showcase and sort of model just a kindness, a generosity, a positivity to enrich their fellow man. And in Salt Lake City, just a beacon of good energy. So I'm here with Kanani.
Hi.
Hello, and Jessica.
Hello.
And then you can give her your
Ishtar.
Yeah, I couldn't say it. I want to say Ishtar. So, Kanani, you're like the most well-connected person in Salt Lake City, and this is the truth. I known Kanani for almost 2 years, and we just have a friendship that we've developed. But really, everywhere I meet, people know you. Like, they know you. They it's crazy. I'll meet people in Bountiful, I'll meet people like in Harriman, and somehow you're connected with them. But it's your kindness. You radiate such a positive aura. You've always been very nice to me. And why is that? How is that? Have you always been that way, or is it just like when you get older, you just start?
Yes, she's always been that way.
I think it is part of, definitely. I grew up in Hawaii, and I feel like Hawaiian people are very loving. They're very giving. They'll give somebody the shirt off their back. So I feel like it was just ingrained upon me when I was young. So when I did move out of Hawaii, I came to the mainland, and I realized that the values that I were taught necessarily weren't the same values that other people in the world, had. And so I got hurt a lot of times because I think I felt like I was really always very loving, giving, genuine to people, and I felt like a lot of people ended up taking advantage of me. And instead of being the victim, instead of being sorry for myself, I definitely wanted to turn things around, and I think it just gave me a chance to radiate even more love, to never let anyone else feel in those spaces, and and to spread the aloha that I learned through my childhood, to whoever I met.
See, I guess maybe I forgot that. I didn't know that. I do feel that. I mean, I think I understand. I've met people who have lived in Hawaii, and even just like people from the mainland, they go there, and there seems to be a grounding effect in Hawaii.
Yes.
It's a very interesting thing. People take more time, or just it's something about the sun and the beach, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
People go barefoot.
Yes.
And I'm here with Jessica. And Jessica,
Hello.
you've lived all over the country. Talking that thing, can you just hold that? Yeah, you're good.
Is this better?
Oh, yeah. Well, let me see. So can you just hold this up as you talk? I think if you hold that button up right there. There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh,
Perfect.
perfect.
Now it's perfect. You can.
Awesome.
So, Jessica, tell us your background. You were telling me some stuff earlier about. I know you grew up in Minnesota, and then you sort of had a career for yourself, and then just talk about like your first 25 years of existence on this earth.
Ooh, 25. Okay, yes. Born in Minnesota, and then my family moved here junior high school.
Okay.
But I had been dancing since I could walk, and went into a really, really good studio here that gave me a lot of exposure nationally. And so by the age of 15, I was touring with that. And so by 17 in high school, I actually had moved about halfway through high school to LA and started my professional career. And then that took me all over the world, as far as in LA to New York to Japan to eventually to Vegas for 7 years. So that was really big highlight of my career, and it shaped a lot of who I was.
How many hours do you think you have practiced dance? Like, how many hours, if you had to put a number on the hours?
Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah. So even back in high school, I went to more dance than I did actual school. So we studied at least, because I also did a ballet program at BYU.
Wow.
So I would get checked out of school early, and I would go do ballet at BYU, and then go to the studio as well and train. So it was anywhere between 30 to 40 hours a week. And then that was just while I was a child. So hours wise, I don't even know how to put a number on that. It has to be up in the millions.
I know. I was a football coach, and I would train guys, and I always felt like people have no idea. Like, you never rise to the occasion. You default to your training, and usually it's like 50% of your best. Like, you actually when the camera comes on or when the crowd is there, it's not like everything accelerates, like your heart rate and like, so you kind of default to your training.
Absolutely.
And, so
Absolutely.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
And Ishtar,
Yes.
so when we came in here, I was having some problems with this, and you were so nice, so grounding, and it really calmed me. Like it really made me feel good, and it made me feel not as stressed and like because I think because we're all doing the best we can. But what's your background? Where are you from, and sort of how do you know these girls? How do you know Kanani?
Well, so it all began on a summer day. I met Kainani originally at a pool party. It was a Jaguar occult pool party in Salt Lake. I don't see a lot of things like that happening in the area, like more so in Miami and Southern California and other places that I visited. So when I found Jaguar occult, I was so excited because I was like, oh, they know how to have fun. This is so great. These are my friends. So that's where I met them, and like we didn't know each other very well when we first met. I was more friends with another mutual friend that we have, David. But yeah, we just got to know each other over the years, and then we came together in a more serious way last year when we were discussing an opportunity that we all kind of wanted to do together called Venus Riot, which is kind of an entertainment production like group that we have all formed together. And that was when I met Jess, and that was when my relationship like deepened with Kainani. We started to become better friends and got to know each other more and stuff.
So and then talk about this. The Venus, because I know I've seen it on social media, and I know I've met you with friends out, and you've explained it to them, and you can do a better job than I can. I tried to look at it before we did this, but you want
You want to talk about it?
Oh, I was just, no, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, you want me to talk about it? Okay, so Venus Riot, what we wanted to create, so we are all professional dancers, we are DJs, music producers, event curators. So we knew we had these very creative talents, and I've always felt the desire to empower women. I've done that pretty much through all my careers. But this was a chance to do it in a more creative way where we have more creative freedom. So we wanted to create a group where women can rise to their authenticity and feel free to be themselves and not to put on a mask, to really live their best life, and they can do whatever they want. So that's kind of what the gist of Venus Riot is, to support women, to make, hey, you can go and dance, you can be a DJ, you can get up on stage and you are still a badass bitch, and like, you shouldn't be shamed for doing things like that. It's actually very healing to dance. It's very healing to bring out those creative forms. You actually do feel like you're, going through a lot of healing childhood traumas, ancestral traumas, things that are in your DNA just through dancing and movement. And so this is the gist of us. We are very, we have all been through a lot in our lifetime. We never had it easy. Mm-hmm. I want to say we are all like the black sheep of our family, kind of like shunned because, our family was LDS growing up, and it was like, we got together and we wanted to rise above that. And so, yeah.
Well, and I feel we have a mission statement, and part of that mission statement is Venus as far as the goddesses, and we all wanted to help represent women as that we are all goddesses, and the rioting that we are rioting against the societal norms for a woman. And I think that happens often here in Utah. And it happens anywhere, but even when it comes to fashion, to how you present yourself, how you're supposed to act,
what you're supposed to wear,
what you're supposed to wear, how you're supposed to dance, all these things, which I find really interesting too, because I actually I attended a Zoom seminar with Tony Robbins recently, and he has them all stand up and dance, right? Like he has them all stand up and dance, and so it's like it's acceptable, right? When this big time curator of abundance and
Yeah.
wealth and all these things. He's having them dance, but then women get judged for it as well. So it's just something to be able to stand in your skin, to stand up for who you are at all times.
I think Tony Robbins has a quote, motion creates emotion. So it's
Yes.
like the more you move,
Yes.
the more
Yes.
you make it.
Yeah,
And-
so
and-
we just want to really, really rise that to the occasion.
Yeah, and I wanted to say that Venus Riot is all about embodying your genuine, authentic nature and then expressing that. So, genuine and authentic expression, whatever that means for you in whatever way. And we believe that art, beauty, and love will save the world. And so we want to bring beauty, like beautiful energy,
Yep.
you know, and beautiful images. And we want to be the curators of solutions, you know what I mean,
Right.
as opposed to problems, and of like the rising in consciousness and just the elevating of all places that we enter. And so we try to be mindful of that as well. And yeah, we feel that as we have been able to genuinely embody our true essence, even just doing that and being that out in the world lets other people know I don't have to continue living in the box that I was told that I had to live in order to survive on this planet. I can actually leave the box, I can be who I am, and I can thrive. And that's what we want people to know.
I believe also that being in the box, that causes a lot of issues in our world.
Mhm.
And why in
Mental
the
issues
world are
even.
we having so many people that have mental issues, you know?
Shame,
I feel
depression.
everybody has
Yeah.
that to some extent, and why? Because we're not being true to ourselves. When you do step out of that and be true to yourself, you realize that you can manifest things. You are so powerful, you know. And I think the beauty just shines through the light and through the person, and it has nothing to do but just spread out to everyone else around you.
And I think that's important too, because like you guys emit love, and it's not like you're not in any way like anti-man. It's more just like
No, not at all.
you're just loving everything, and you're coming from your perspective, which is all you can come from. So your perspective being a woman, you're gonna have that, and that's perfectly normal, perfectly natural.
Well, and we actually, when we were really coming up and really brainstorming what we wanted to represent, was we want to represent and embody the feminine, but we also very much respect the masculine. And I think that everyone steps into that at different times, whether it be the feminine and the masculine. So it's in no way like a feminist
Right.
movement,
Right.
but it's
Sure.
about being in to step into that and make it magic.
Yes.
I would say more than anything as well, it's about the balancing of masculine and feminine energies. And then as we're able to do that, I think that helps us to fully express ourselves as well too, because like, I don't know if you have still wounding within your divine masculine or wounding within your divine feminine, there's just, I don't know.
And that's become a big topic. Like I always hear people are talking
Yeah, these
about
kind of
masculine.
terms, right? Or,
Yeah. Did you want to say something real quick?
Yeah.
I can't remember what I was gonna say. Yeah, but yeah, it's true. I feel like as we heal each other, it's a collective, right? So we're healing each other, we're bringing our most authentic self to the table. That's only going to help the masculine rise as well, to be, you know, to heal,
Right.
to actually, we're going to send that vibration so they have nothing to do but heal, because we don't want to, because we're bringing that energy.
Right.
So I do believe, like the women were saying, we do have, each of us, male and female, do have both of those energies, but by healing the feminine, especially because we've been oppressed for so long, especially because we have our rights, like, taken from us from a man, you know, especially these things, just doing these things, or hopefully, you know, will change the world.
All right. So, hello, everybody. We are back on the Saving Humanity podcast. And we were just talking in sort of a little break we had about religion, and how last podcast I had, it was a similar, in a way, about someone who kind of had to overcome some things that they learned when they were younger. And we were just commenting how it's not really an attack on religion per se. It's more just taking what works for yourself, seeing the beauty in it, and then maybe unlearning, or if that's a bad term, just like, you know, seeing a different perspective as well if something doesn't serve you, at this point in time. And I think you want to talk about that, Jessica.
Well, one of the things that you said is that it's not that there are all negatives when it comes to religions and different dominations. You said, what was perfect was that it does bring order. I think a lot of the trauma that actually occurs from it is any type of sect that is putting harsh, unreasonable terms to live up to or to live standards to, and not being able to possibly veer from that in any way. So if you veer, you get punished, and that's where a lot of the shame and trauma comes in. So, and I think that happens in any religion. So it's not just one as a whole. And
Exactly.
you'll hear a lot of people talk about, well, it's not the people, it's not necessarily the rules that make the religion. It is whatever their gospel belief. And that's something beautiful for any religion. But I think that tends to happen is the oppression of it, and then people tend to go 180 degrees in the opposite direction. And so that's where a lot of that kind of comes back and forth.
Yeah, I'll make a comment. I feel that even religion, right, for me personally, I felt like that it didn't resonate with me ever since I was young. So I wasn't being true to myself. I wasn't being true to what my soul was feeling, what was right. And I think that's where people are oppressed, is they're not being themselves because they're told, hey, we have to live a certain way, and that's not who they really are. So not saying one way is bad, maybe what works for some people, but just being able to be more conscious and know what's out there, study other religions. If you're going to be religious, study other religions and see if that's, if your religion still resonates you at the end of that,
Right.
just broaden your mind for a little, it's like, don't stay so close to where you feel that even because you're in religion, you can't appreciate what someone else has going
Right.
on,
Right.
And I really feel in the end, it's about, most people are searching for wholeness, right? They're searching for wholeness, and a lot of it do it for community as well. And so again, it's not all negative. It's just what resonates with you. I think that all of us resonate. I don't want to speak for them, but we all resonate with being spiritual. And
Right.
that is a large, large umbrella
Right.
of what that spirituality can be. But
Right.
in the end of the day, we're seeking enlightenment. We're seeking wholeness, and want to share that within any community along their terms as well. Like, we're not asking them to believe one way or the other. It's about being able to believe and be true to yourself.
And I know you wanted to say something earlier too. You can say that if you have a comment now, and then say what you were going to say earlier about unconditional love and things.
So earlier I was saying that I loved the question that you asked, Kainani, when you said, oh, there's just something about you. You're just so sparkly and shiny and happy. I don't understand why. And I mean, yeah, there are a lot of reasons, and she does carry the aloha spirit so hard.
Mm-hmm.
But in addition to that, what I wanted to say was that Kainani loves herself. And I know that she has cultivated a deep inner well of self-love, and that comes shining through as happiness.
Yep.
And it's something that I've learned in my own life as well, as I have experienced things and maybe just suffered a little bit growing up from feeling insecure in certain ways, or this, that, or the other. And it's like, as I have cultivated more self-love within myself, it's just, you're happier, and then you're able to love other people more as well. So another thing that Venus Riot kind of stands for and represents is the cultivation of inner unconditional self-love, and also unconditional acceptance of oneself.
Right.
So, and back to religion, I grew up LDS, so I grew up Mormon in Southern California, which is a little bit unique because I grew up by the beach, but in this very serious, I guess, kind of like a lot of rules religion and stuff. And I have always seen myself as a spiritual individual as opposed to a religious individual. My mother was Catholic. My dad wasn't anything. And anyways, I connected a lot with ethereal realms that the religion couldn't explain. And I eventually ended up shutting it down because
Did your parents?
I was weird.
Did your parents convert to LDS at some point?
Yeah.
And then, okay.
They both converted when they were 25.
And I've so in Utah, it seems to me, and believe me, I'm not like I'm pro people, and like I think the church, there's a lot of beautiful things about it. I didn't grow up LDS. Just I think people that know me know that. But here in Utah, the people that I meet that are from Utah, there's usually a connection. Or if they came here for a reason, it's changed a little bit because there's a lot of transplants here. I mean, we're all transplants here, but usually the LDS church does there's a reason. Sometimes it pulls people here. And so I think it's important because this is a Salt Lake City based podcast, and there are a lot of people, even if they don't identify as LDS anymore, who did it one time and probably have a similar upbringing. And the way I look at it is the most religious part of the United States is my hometown. It's like Alabama. Like Alabama's 80% people identify as Christian. So it's even more than here because a lot of people are either LDS or they're nothing at all. So there, it's not like that. So I don't. There's a church. There's way more churches in Alabama and Mississippi than there are here. But it's a very interesting thing. And for me, and I talked about this on my other podcast, but I can see the value of capital R religion, and also though, there are others. There's science. There's things that we can learn. There's evolutionary psychology. There's evolutionary history that you can't debate. And so me growing up in the Baptist church and them telling it's 5,000 years old the earth is, and just the different things, after a while you started seeing inconsistencies. But I think the stuff that how my mom raised me, which was very conservative in a way, and then very didn't want me to have premarital sex or anything like that, and it really scarred me, and I had to unlearn it. And I think all it did was just when I started doing those things, I think I was way more than if she wouldn't have done that. So it's a very interesting thing. But like you said, our parents are doing the best they can. We're all doing the best they can, and it's a beautiful thing. This whole journey that we're on.
Yes, and one more comment on the religion part of it. I feel that my biggest, where I started to feel a disconnect from my religion, or the part of it that I appreciated when I went inside, was I felt that it was a tool that brought me closer to God in this particular incarnation. But the thing that I didn't appreciate was I felt that they were telling me that there were other people that were in between me and God, and that I needed them in order to communicate with God, or that I needed to follow their rules in order to be accepted by God. And that wasn't unconditional. They teach a very conditional type love. And again, everyone is doing the best that they can, but there's a lot of programming and there's a lot of things that they teach that are very restricting, disempowering, and disconnecting for individuals from their own source, because you don't need a religion to connect into your source. You don't need a religion to talk to God. Right. You can do that all by yourself. And I feel like that's very empowering, as opposed to making people feel disempowered and hopeless. There's all these other people that are involved in their exaltation and their salvation. How can you ever feel like you have any say, really?
And I think I don't even know the depths of it because I didn't grow up in that, but I know people have shared with me sort of that that world of the heaviness of growing up in a church like that. The Baptist church is a little bit different. It's just a different. But it's similar, and then it's different. I think any church that's more serious and you have to earn your way into something, it definitely can be confusing as a child. And
because it's not true.
Because
you need to earn yourself into anything.
Well, and you also hit it that as far as going that direction in the complete opposite, the 180 degree turn. I think that's normally what happens, and it's someone's form of rebellion. And I too, so we were all raised in the LDS religion. I never had a rebellion that went away from it, but I remember I'm also a yoga instructor, and I remember when I found my spirituality through yoga. Now, I'm not Hindu, I'm not Buddhist or any of those things, but I found that connection to self, which connected me to, like Ishtar said, source. And so there's so many different avenues. without religion necessarily, that you can find that connection, that wholeness. And I think that again, that's essentially what I feel like everyone is actually searching for, instead of having to rebel against being told what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
it's self-sustaining too.
I agree. I mean, I believe that our souls already have all the answers. You know, we are programmed to make us feel less than we really are. We are conditioned. And so, us finding our true, authentic self, staying in self love, is actually loving who you really are. It goes back again just to love. Love. I mean, that's the bottom line, you know? And even me, like Ishtar, I'm not always happy. I mean, I do love myself, but it took a lot to get to that place. I had to hit rock bottom in order to feel that way, because that's when, you know, you get to your breaking point. Then that's when you can eventually start, okay, now I'm healing, and I'm going to be gentle to myself, and I'm going to program myself in a way, not program, but just to be in my vibration, so I can create more love and the life that I desire.
And Jessica, I want to talk to you again. I know we still have a little while, but I just looked at the time, but I know you've had, just getting to know you, and you've had Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Correct.
Cancer.
Yeah.
Can you talk
Classical.
about how you were diagnosed? I know you told me.
Oh, goodness.
Kanani was there when your hair started to fall out, and it was kind of an emotional thing for you. Can you talk about that journey and sort of what helped you in your mindset and how it's changed you after that experience?
Well, it's a deep subject, and actually, I love that even Kainani just said that she's like, I'm not always happy. I knew how to wear a mask really, really well, and it's taken a long time, a lot of therapy, which I'm a huge advocate for, to come back into my skin. I developed cancer going through a pretty harsh divorce. I've made jokes, and I think I do that, you know,
Sure. Yeah.
to hide the pain, right? Like you make jokes, but I went through a very harsh divorce, which caused a lot of trauma. And then within 6 months, I developed cancer. And so I've joked that my divorce gave me cancer.
Well, you know, and so this is true, and you guys can look this up, that actually when you laugh at something, it actually releases trauma. So it's actually really good.
That's perfect.
The more
I'm
things
really good at that.
You know, or if you're in a stressful situation or whatever, if you can just make a joke and laugh, it actually does release. So like making a joke, and in the politically correct world we live in, you can't do that. You can't make jokes, but that was since our human history a way that we actually release trauma. So it's you can still make jokes and talk about difficult or serious things, and it's a way to sort of release some trauma. So
Right.
so it's a natural thing. So
Well, a little background as far as going into that too was, so I was a performer my whole life, and that's all I knew. That's all I ever wanted to do. I was not that little girl that grew up wanting to get married, not even to have kids. And I have 2 kids, and I absolutely love them with every fiber in my being. But that wasn't something that I grew up desiring. And so I had this, what I was fairly successful career, had no regrets in it, whatever. And then I kind of came into my second chapter. And when I met my ex and we got pregnant and went into marriage right away, I took it as a sign. It was me trying to connect into that spirituality, that those like not even necessarily that I manifested, but I felt like this was my next chapter.
Right.
And so I went into it, and it kind of changed me as a person. It changed my whole desires in life. It grounded me in a totally different light. But then I had this idea, again, maybe growing up in the religion is part of what happened, but I had this idea, you know, my family, my white picket fence, I tried to be the perfect wife, like all these different things. So when that failed, and it failed so drastically, I took it as a hit on myself that I chose the wrong thing. I chose it I took it in as that I had failed, and I had such a crippling fear of failure because I had been so successful in life that I didn't know how to handle that. I didn't know how to process it. And so then when the cancer developed so fast, I went into that. And then I'm being told by everyone that, Jessica, you've always been so strong. Jessica, you're a warrior. So that's what I was talking about earlier as far as like putting on that mask. I put on that mask, and it worked during that time. It got me through all that time. It got me through treatment, I had a huge community between my dance community, my friends, my yoga community. I had so much support, and I am so incredibly grateful for that. But I never processed it. I had to just keep living, right? I had to keep earning money. I didn't get to take that break. I didn't get that time to heal because I was going through that divorce at the same time.
Exactly.
And so it took a heavy halt, and Kainani's been there. I'm going to get emotional. She's been there the whole time for me. But I fell into a pretty deep depression after. We're talking like a year after. So I got cleared, which is, they put you into remission, and I was good. I was like living life again. Right. And then it kind of came to that halt, and I hadn't processed the divorce. I hadn't processed cancer. I hadn't processed some other really personal stuff that had happened in my life and trauma. And I did hit that depression, and I kept putting on that mask. I was still teaching yoga at that time as well. And I was able to give every bit of energy that I had to my students, to my clients and stuff like that. But I kept none for myself. And that's where self-care, and I think that that's also what we try to speak about, whether it be Venus Riot, whether it be Embodying the Self, is taking those times for yourself, because that true happiness has to come within. And so I had to go through a lot of that to come back to myself, even step away, I guess you could say, from the world, take a step back and come back into that to actually find that true happiness.
Yes, ma'am. What did you do you think it's changed you, or do you see things different? Do you hear the clock ticking? And I don't mean in your own mortality, but for me, I think like it's like the carpe diem thing. You have to seize the moment. Do you find yourself more like, but I don't know if it's helped you if you're scared of something, or if maybe it helps you push your comfort zones, or maybe it's just a reminder that in 5 years, the stuff that's I'm worried about now or thinking about, it's not going to matter. Do you have any of that?
Well, yes, because there was, when I fell really hard, when I hit that rock bottom for myself, I was angry at so many things, right? And what it did for me was when I finally was able to take that change, when I was finally able to go through the therapy I needed, when I was finally able to really process it, instead of being resentful for the people that were like, Jessica, you're so strong, and I didn't want to be strong. I needed time to heal, and I felt like I had to put this mask on that I was strong. And so when I was able to finally heal, then I realized my resilience, and I was like, so being able to look at that as far as like seize the day, it gave me a new light of empathy. It made me my love expound a lot deeper towards people and what people are going through, because we don't know. Everyone's always going through something, and we can't assume. There's a lot of deeply rooted wounds that people are not able to express or
even access, maybe.
Or yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've been shoved down into a little box so deep, and so talking about it, even though it's hard, is the best thing you can do. It is the absolute best thing you can do to be able to share that.
So true.
And a lot of times it allows to shine light for those people that are still living in shame for it, because even the word depression, it's so shameful, and it's so nice that finally that's coming out to the surface, that it's no longer shamed, but it's about recognizing mental health awareness.
So Jess, I've seen her through her transition of being married. We met when she was married, through her deepest moments, and fluctuating, and then even seeing her now, she is a whole new woman. And the thing is, as a friend, I'm not perfect, but I've seen her transitions, and I knew who she really was, and I felt her energy, and I felt her strength, and I always believed in her. So a lot of times, when I was like, oh my gosh, like when she was in her lowest, it was hard to see that, because I did see her in a different light. But then as she went through these trials and came out the other end, now she can be her most true, authentic self and help other people in those situations. Because I believe that sicknesses come from the blockages in our bodies. any kind of energetic blockages, our body is just tensing it up wherever we're storing it, and it's creating cancers and
Right.
diseases, you know?
Yep.
And for her to put on this mask for so long, feel that she can't be herself, having this divorce and probably feeling that it's all her fault. So that just agitated, inflamed in her
It
body
did.
and brought out this
Yep.
disease, you know? But anyways, as far as even with the depression, I just wanted to make a statement that we are manifesting, even though realizing you have depression, you don't want to dwell on depression. You don't want to dwell on anxiety. You don't want to dwell on OCD, because I very much
Right.
myself can say I can't have all,
Right.
but I try to say the opposite. I am
Right.
not depressed. I am happy. I am loving. I am focused. You know, I have a clear conscience, and my consciousness is expansive, right? So just by saying these words instead of even just speaking it out, I think that will help us, because
And-
it's not vibrating back to us in that negative form.
100%. And I can speak to, like, I know you for a couple of years. I know I met you before, and then just we were here by ourselves for a while, and like you guys do radiate like a positive aura and energy. So it helps. There's something that has, like, the reason I had you on the podcast is because I want people who like emit that aura and that energy, that kindness, that love for your fellow man. You know what I mean? Because like anybody, I'm not just trying to get 3 people in here to talk about, you know, I really want to get people in the Salt Lake area who actually like do like enrich their fellow man, have a love for their fellow man. And you've always expressed that. You've always been that way. And with you earlier, when we were here and you were trying to help me, and there's just a kindness and a softness, and it's a beautiful thing, you know? And, you know, you can feel it, like, you know, it's when I was across from you, you're getting emotional about your cancer. You know, I could feel that, you know, and there's something to that. There's something to like your own, you guys have all do like our brain can recognize patterns. And like when you see people who do like self-development here in Utah, the one thing about Utah, like people are into this kind of stuff. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
now there is the whole culture that we were talking about, the more traditional culture here. But like when people release or let go from that, there's a lot of self work that they undergo. And unlike
Absolutely.
anywhere I've ever lived, people like know about like the trauma and releasing it, and there's so much I still don't know. You know, I can feel energy pretty well. I talk to a lot of people, so I'm always meeting people, and you can tell like a lightness, a love of life, like in abundance mindset, like you said with Tony Robbins, like that in that source, like you were talking about, the core essence. Like I always say, like our core essence is why we're here, to evolve our core essence, you know, to just grow in our core essence. And so, you know, and so you can feel that within a person. Someone can have a beautiful core essence, and then that's different from their outer shell. You know, our outer shell is our outer shell, and we should, you know, it's fun to like work on that and do those things. But at the end of the day, our source, our core essence is kind of why we're here, and to evolve it.
Well, and Kainani hit on it like just perfectly too, as far as whether it be manifestation. I'm a true believer in mantra work, right? Even little things, and I teach young girls too, and the developmental stage of children, right? They often become what they hear, right?
Wow.
Especially through their growing years. And
Yep.
so, like, I have 2 boys, and they could not be more opposite, right? One is very athletic and one is very book studied, but I don't necessarily say that to them, because then they pigeonhole themselves,
Exactly, correct,
right?
correct.
Like, you want to teach people that they are capable of anything, that they don't have to be pigeonholed. Of course,
Correct.
people have talents in,
Yep.
in different directions and different things like that.
Yep.
But mantra work, and whether that be like personal, like I am beautiful, I am worthy, I am whole, whatever that is, or I am capable of this, I am capable of that, and being able to put that out in the world instead of pigeonholing yourself into a singular direction,
Right.
or, you know, a 2-dimensional direction instead of 3 or 4-dimensional.
It's awesome. No, it's so true. It's so true. I teach kids, and like, yeah, the certain things we get that identity, and it's crazy. It's so real. We tie ourselves to it, and it can be good, like break bad habits, or it can be good at times. But then, yeah, it's crazy how we are. It's so true. It's so true. But did you want to say something? Add something to say any of that?
I think I was just going to say that I view our experience here on earth as like a school. And so as you were talking about your inner kind of broader perspective, your soul, maybe let's say, and that ultimately we're all kind of the mindset that we're here to expand that consciousness, that soul that is inside of us. And so with all the different things that we have been talking about today, I feel like a good way to like round it all in together is just to say that like, I view myself as this multidimensional being of light and love, and this is just one aspect of me that's currently inside of this body, a part of my consciousness, you know? And I have the opportunity, even while I'm here, to expand that and to also tap into the rest of me and like bring it into this body to be even more of myself. But yeah, the experiences that we have, I don't think are by accident, and everything that we do experience, should we choose, can assist us in our evolution, in our personal growth, in the deepening of our understanding of who we are and what we are and how we can continue to evolve. And it's like when we continue to run in those patterns, like maybe we're not noticing it yet, and then we keep repeating things. But as soon as we're able to go inside and see and learn, and then yeah, so I love everything that's happened to me. I love the good things. I love the bad things. Because I see them all as tools or just experiences that have allowed me to come into the fullness and more of a knowing of who and what I am. And how can that ever be a bad thing?
Exactly. 100%.
I love that too, because I don't have any resentments, like even going through it. Like I recognize now, whether it was hard going through it, you don't ever wish those things upon the other person.
Correct.
You never wish it upon someone. You don't ever want to like to, you know, have that type of destruction on any other human being. But going through them and having, I guess you could say, even that morbid opportunity to have that is like this huge space for growth. I know that like sometimes I feel lucky that I'm able to see the world in a different light because of some of the dark things that I've had to go through.
Yep. That makes perfect sense.
Also, I was going to say that I had an experience one time where I felt that I died. Like I felt that I had like an ego death, not like a physical death, but right. And so having that experience, it assisted in my like ability to live. A lot of humans are so afraid of dying that they're not actually living either. And so I think going through these big things like cancer or our divorces that we've had, or just like all these life, just like altering, like, whoa, there really is a part of you that dies when you go through those things, you know? So but true. Like we can let those parts of ourselves die, and then we can let them go, and then we can reemerge as like the bright shiny stars that we are without those things, you know? And then but anyways, going back to the dying part, I don't know, when you feel like you have died and then you're here again, you're just not afraid of dying anymore, and then you live in a completely different way. So
I'm still working through that. I still hold an attachment to like life, and I love learning. So the reason I don't want to die is because I love learning, like the things like this. This is just like this is the variety of life, like going deep with people, and just it's a beautiful like expansion. So I want you guys to say like how people can find out about your stuff and what you're doing, and then how people can reach out and join it, and so on and so forth, support it.
Yes. Right now, just so you know, right now we are kind of getting ourselves together. We're kind of reorganizing, rebranding. There's so many great ideas that we have that we're just trying to put together. But you can find us on Instagram. So it's Venus Riot Official. Give us a follow, and we have all our events posted. We have some things coming up, festivals that we're doing with DJing and dancing in the summer, and just things that we want to have in the works. So please follow us there.
And as far as, you know, kind of coming out with some different avenues that we want to expand into, I know that we have, when we started back in, what was it, October of last year? Yeah. But we came out with a storm. It was during the holiday season, and it was just event after event after event, and it was pretty amazing. We felt very fortunate. And then we took a little step back to, again, like we said, like to rebrand and to kind of reorganize into it. So there's so many different avenues that we're wanting to go into. We want to go into the health and wellness as far as the embodiment of the true spirit and empowerment. And I know that we're wanting to get together for retreats and workshops and just all the goodness, all the magic. So make sure. Yes. We are open to collaborations. We are, we're just inviting all the beautiful souls here in Salt Lake City and thereafter.
Yes, I'll put your contact in this video. And then, this is such a high vibration conversation, which is the purpose of the podcast, to like raise the consciousness. Saving humanity, which that's kind of a play on words, but it's just something, and it's a unique name. Like no one like that podcast does not exist. I have that podcast.
Yes.
Exactly. So, but you guys are awesome. Thank you for being. Is there any last thoughts? Oh, but one thing I want to ask you: how do you connect with people so well? Because people think
it's her vibration.
It is her vibration.
I definitely believe your vibe attracts your tribe. And I think as we're continuing to like expand, like I always, in my mind, my purpose is like, one of my purpose is to be able to serve others, because through service of others, I feel that it only helps me be in a better vibration, be more connected, be more in love. So I ask myself, like, show me, like, please give me someone that needs, whatever it could be, a smile, a hello, like a hug,
Exactly.
And I think that's just, it's not, I don't even think about it. I don't think that a lot of people know me until I go out sometimes when I'm like, whoa, I do know everybody in this room. But it's something that I don't really think about. It's just me being me and, and I think people are drawn to that.
Yes.
And Kainani embodies this, but there's also there's so much power in genuine eye contact. And as far as being able to, like you said, like feel that vibe or feel that emotion or find that empathy, whatever it may be, as far as that connection. And she's always done that. I mean, we've known each other for now 10 years. Yeah. We are sisters. Yeah. But I remember the first day I met her, and there was also there was no fear in the barrier as far as her approach and the genuine approach. And I know that she's inspired me to be the same way too. So yes.
And I think too, like if all of us can emulate that kind of treatment of our fellow man and kindness, like, wow, it would like just, it's so different. You can feel when someone has that high vibration energy. And I talk to everybody, and I've done it for so long. But still, like, you can feel different energies. And I know there's a lot of pressures in society, and I know 1% of the people might be absolutely crazy, but to share that kindness without hesitation and to just be that, I guess, your higher self, or to share your source, if you will, that's a beautiful thing. And like it's I think it'll affect positively the folks who listen to this podcast, and I know it's affected me positively. So and all you guys, thank you. Thanks for being here and doing this. I appreciate you guys. Yes.
Coming up to me and treating
Thank you so much.
I know. This is why you go up and talk to random people, guys. This is what you do right here. But don't be scared. But thank you guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.